The magic of detachment. Hello, beautiful subscribers. Welcome back, and to any newbies, welcome to my channel. My name is Sarah Alotabi, and I'm going to be showing you today how you can manifest your biggest desires when it comes to love and relationships using detachment in these 3 specific areas of detachment, right? Because I know a lot of you sometimes hear about, oh, detach from the outcome, right? But do you know that's just one of the main 3 that you need in order to succeed in that? And again, when people say detach, how do you do that? What does that even mean? A lot of you have these questions, and I get these questions a lot, so I'm going to show you how in this video. And I just wanted to remind you guys that I'm dedicated to making these videos because I want us all to be held accountable to being the best versions of ourselves, and that means me too. I'm practicing what I preach, so I want you to know when I share these things, it's because I myself have practiced them too, and they've worked for me. So let's get into it. So the first one is detachment from your stories. Now, detachment from your stories is about your stories that you tell yourself, right? It's about the stories that we've told over and over again. What's the story that you say when somebody asks you if you're single or in a relationship? The story, oh, I'm too busy doing X, Y, and Z, right? Or if somebody asks you about your last relationship, you start off by explaining the relationship, right? But how long? How attached to that story? How attached to that story are you? Do you spend a 15-minute section of that person's time explaining the whole relationship, the do's and the don'ts and everything that happened, and then try and end on a happy note with, but now I'm glad that it's over because I learned a lot from it, right? Whereas it sounds like it just happened yesterday, even though it may have happened years ago. I hear a lot of these stories all the time because it's hard. We struggle with this, especially if you've been in a very intense and deep emotional relationship, something that transformed you as a person and changed your life and trajectory, right? How do you just let go of that? And the key is remembering that the past doesn't exist anymore. We live in the now. Have any of you been in a situation where you remember something from years ago and you're telling the person that you have that memory with about it, and you're like, oh, remember when we did this and X, Y, and Z happened and da da da, and then they say, no, I don't remember it like that. We weren't there, we were here. Or you said another person was with you and they said, no, that person wasn't with us, it was just us two, right? It's to show you that it's not just people's opinions, right, that create different memories, like they're different experiences. But the past is forever changing based on somebody's own mind, which means it doesn't exist, it's already gone. We create that existence in our heads, and we hold on to it by the stories that we keep. It's the same with the future. The future can have many different outcomes dependent on the choices that you make in the now. So it doesn't exist yet. In your present, it doesn't. And the past doesn't exist anymore. So why are we still carrying it around with us? Why is it still something that defines us? So the first thing to do in order to release this, make sure you're aware of the stories that you tell. Sit down and actually write, what are the stories that I tell when people ask me about my love life, my relationships? Write them down and see what you're still carrying with you. I had a very special soul in one of my one-to-one group coaching sessions, and he wrote me the most beautiful essay about his experience over the past with this beautiful, beautiful flowering relationship, right? But it was very much in the past. It started years back. And how all of the detail was still relived, right? As if it was happening in the now. If any of you feel that same way, I gave the same advice. Release and let go. Release the story. Write yourself a new story. Write yourself whatever story you would like. So there you go. The first thing you need to do is detach from your story and write yourself a new one. The second thing is that you want to detach from wanting. If you want something, you are telling the universe and you have the energy of not currently having it. If you are wanting love, if you are wanting support, if you are wanting affection, you are giving out that you are in lack of it to the universe. And this is very understandable in the law of attraction, but if you need proof of it, right? You know when you have a person who's in serial relationships, right? That person that just seems to go through a relationship, come out of it, and then the next person is knocking on their door, and then they jump into a relationship, come out of it, the next person. There are people who are serial daters. That has other psychological kind of other things attached to it, but the main idea that's happening energetically is that they have the vibration of being in a relationship, because when you're in a relationship, you maintain and build momentum in that vibration. Then what happens is when they get out of a relationship, usually they're in the mindset of, I don't want to get in another relationship. I've just been in one. I just went through a breakup. These are the stories that they're telling themselves, and they completely detach from wanting a relationship. And because they're in that mindset of not wanting and focusing on themselves because they just came out of a relationship, what happens? The universe brings them another one and says, okay, you don't want it, but you've had so much momentum built around love. You have so much abundance in this universe of love and relationships that we're just going to bring you another one, right? Then you decide if that's something that you want or not. But that is the proof of how this happens. It's the same when people are married and go through a difficult divorce. A lot of times what you find is that somebody meets somebody right away afterwards because they're in that mindset and that detachment of not wanting. So take that power back into yourself. If you're not in either of those situations, which is completely fine, a lot of you might have been single for a couple of years now or a couple months, which is awesome. I think being single is great too. You don't always have to be partnered up, and I think our generation is really doing an interesting job when it comes to changing the dynamics around marriage, relationships, and really making it align with what you want. It's not about having to attach labels to anything, but it's about figuring out what it is that makes you happy internally and then seeing that reflection on the outside, right? So releasing again what you want. Just focus on what makes you happy. Focus on building that internally, and the universe will bring you something that matches that. And then the final one of the three, which I mentioned in the beginning, is the detachment to the outcome, right? Trusting the universe. I have a YouTube video on this that I'll link up above, but it's about letting go and trusting the universe. Knowing that and truly believing that it is possible for you to find somebody in this world. There are 7 billion people on this planet. There are definitely thousands of beautiful souls, if not, that you can share beautiful experiences with in this lifetime. And that's for you to define. So release your attachment to the outcome, because the universe has already been through your life experience. It knows what you want already. Every moment where you realized you didn't want something, you put out to the universe the opposite, which was what you do want, right? Because everything, it is in balance, black and white, light and dark. Whenever there's a negative, there's a positive version that's created. So you've spent a lifetime of putting this out there to the universe, and the universe, as Abraham Hicks says in step 2, does it for you, aligns the road, the path for you. 3 is then when you allow it in, right? That's why I always say align, act, and allow. Allow is the final step, and that's when you release your attachment to the outcome. You let the universe guide you, and you enjoy the journey to getting there, because it's the person that you become when you're there and the partner that you match up with that's going to bring in your wildest dreams. Because if you look at the person that you were maybe even a year ago, who would that person have attracted? And now look at the person that you are and think about how much better and how much more improvement. And it's not necessarily better because all of it is good, but think about how much you're learning now and what type of person you may attract in a year. Well, I hope you enjoyed this, beautiful souls. Make sure to comment below. Let me know if this helped any of you, your experiences with it. And don't forget to hit that like button and share this with anybody that you think it could help. And subscribe to my channel because I have a lot of these beautiful videos coming your way to help us all be the best versions of ourselves. Sending my love and bye for now.